Hey there guys, and welcome to an episode of Minecraft, where a previous episode I built myself a house. I know it isn't quite stupendous looking, but hey, shelter, shelter, and I can't really complain. I haven't gone on a mining adventure quite yet, because I think I still need, at least, well really, all I really need is food. So, this is my first time playing Hardcore, and this is also my first time playing Minecraft on something that isn't PC. But I have my handy-dandy crafting table, a bed, and a couple furnaces to start off, and like I said, a nice shelter with some missing glass on the roof, but that's okay. That's okay. And a missing door. But with all shenanigans aside, I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and get some food. Once I get enough food, maybe if there's a slight opening of a mine somewhere, I can go and grab some coal too. That'd be very useful. But really what I need is more food, and I should be good to go. See, I'm already good to go with my stone pickaxes. I have tools at my disposal, so I have no problem with the tools. So today's topic I really want to talk about though is Final Fantasy. Yes. And why do I bring up that topic? Well, it's because someone at my college asked me actually a Final Fantasy question earlier. And I'll get back to that question in a minute or two. But the first thing I want to talk about is a little personal experience. It goes way back when I was 8 years old. So my first console was the PlayStation 1. No, it wasn't Nintendo 64 or Sega Genesis or Super Nintendo. It was the PlayStation 1. And guess what? My first video game ever that I played was Final Fantasy VII. I know, it's a weird game for an 8-year-old to play, and especially if it's their first video game. But I really wanted that game because when I was 6 or 7 or so, my cousin would play Final Fantasy VII all day on his PlayStation 2. And I would just sit right by his side eating ice cream sandwiches. Where are all the animals? It's starting to get dark already. I should have slept in my bed. I don't know, when he was playing it, it just intrigued me. It really did. From the fighting to the blocky texts and the cool graphics. Yeah. And really one of the most memorable things that I remember when he played that game was when he was digging for the Lunar Harp. I think he literally spent like an hour or two trying to find where that thing is. He was digging, searching, and eventually he found it, and eventually he ended up at the Forgotten City, and it was, I don't know, I got a kick out of it watching him play, so I asked my dad, can I get Final Fantasy VII, and he got me Final Fantasy VII. The second game that he also bought with it was this Razor scooter game. I think it was just called Razor. The company Razor, who makes the scooters. Okay, that should save me for now. That was pretty close. Oh, that's right. Time to murder some monsters. Ouch. No, 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 no. Wow, that is hardcore. Okay. Thank you for the assist, Creeper. Appreciate it very much. Alright. No! Guys, all I'm trying to do is find food, and you're really making it hard on me. Back to Final Fantasy VII. I was 8 years old, and I was just struggling with that game in the beginning. I had no idea what the front row was, the back row was. I was just playing on my way through, and what I remember playing Final Fantasy VII when I was 8 years old is that I died a lot. The first boss that I started to struggle was the Materia Keeper. He would he would plow me down because I had low HP. And the reason he would kick my ass is because I was running away from random encounters. I didn't think I was enjoying random encounters that much, so I was running away from everything. So when I was fighting the Materia Keeper, I think I was level 16 or so, and I was struggling with that boss a lot and took like maybe 15 tries. I remember that one night, it was maybe the 7th, 8th try, one of my neighbors came in, and he said, "Oh, hey, that's Final Fantasy VII. You need some help there?" And yeah, I gave him the controller, and he was having a hard time too. But I don't blame him. All my characters were low level. And what I remember was I thought Dice, Kate Sith's Limit Break Dice, was like the best Limit Break ever, and I was just like, yes, he's using Dice, and it would do 600 damage because sometimes the Dice are capable of inflicting more damage than other people's limit breaks, especially if you're low level. But yeah, that's how I got into Final Fantasy, because my cousin played Final Fantasy, and I got hooked into it because I was watching him play it, and that was my first video game. Okay, 2 years ago, going back to that question, I bought myself a wallet. There was this cool store in the mall the mall's like 3 miles away from where I live, and they still have this awesome store where they sell things like Final Fantasy wallets, Kingdom Hearts keyblades, Kingdom Hearts keychains, Buster swords, pickaxes from Minecraft. They sell, and that store is like, if you're a fan of Japanese role-playing games, it's like, oh, I love this store. But anyways, going back to the question. So I bought this Final Fantasy VII wallet, which I will show off camera in this video. Has a picture of Zack and Cloud. And I get a lot of compliments when I pop up my wallet to go pay for fast food or just to go pay something. And like, oh, that's an awesome wallet. Oh, it's Cloud. Oh, it's Zack. Yeah, I'm like, it's double-sided, so it has Zack and Cloud, and it's a really cool wallet. But the question that I was asked today, because some guy complimented my wallet and said, "Hey, who's your favorite character, Zack or Cloud?" And I'm like, I like Cloud, dude, and he likes Zack because his name is actually Zack. But we started to talk a little bit about Final Fantasy and other role-playing games. But he asked me this question: hey, what Final Fantasy do you think was the hardest? And I said to myself, well, that's a good question. I'm not quite sure. So it's a tough question because actually, I don't know how many Final Fantasy games are out there. I think there are like 79. I think there are 79. But from what I played, I know I played, the original linear, what do you call it, sequels. They're not sequels, but from 1 to 14, and plus a few spin-offs. And my goodness, there are so many spin-offs, I can't list them all. But I started thinking about this. What was the hardest Final Fantasy game that I played? And I'm just gonna list a few. I'm gonna give my opinion. I'm gonna just list 1 through 14 and maybe a few spin-offs. I'm just gonna list my opinion. Because I don't know, in general, the Final Fantasy games is, when you get older and you start to get used to them, and when you start playing the series and you understand how stuff works, they become easy. I don't know. I don't want to say they're really easy. Some give a challenge, but I don't know, let's go back to number 1. Number 1, the first time I played number 1 was for the PlayStation 1. I think it was PlayStation Origins when they had the 1 and 2 bundle. And 1 was easy. As long as you leveled up your characters, yeah, they're easy. Level 2, Oh my gosh. I, level 2 was easy, just because, that leveling system was absolutely horrible. Like, I remember you would attack other characters just to raise your strength or to raise your HP, from what I remember. Number 3, the only version of number 3 I played was for the DS and the Android, and I thought that was, I think it's like medium easy. I'd call it medium easy. Now, Final Fantasy IV, that was a pretty challenging game. I would give it, I would say the difficulty for that game would be between medium and hard. I would say that. I think that's fair. Number 5, which the first time I played 5 was when I bought Final Fantasy Chronicles, which included number 6 too. Number 5 was, I don't know, I think it was medium, depending on what classes you chose. It could also be easy, like I said, depending on, I got that right. Final Fantasy VI was medium. I would give that, I think it's fair to say that was medium. Number 7. I know I was talking about myself when I was 8 and playing 7, it was really hard, but in reality, once you understand Final Fantasy stuff and understand that game itself and the materia system and all that and whatnot, that game is actually pretty easy. It's pretty easy. But there are exceptions. There are some exceptions to Final Fantasy games about the difficulty level, and it's when you start talking about modifications, mods for these Final Fantasy games, and I'll talk about that later. Final Fantasy VIII was, okay, the first time I played it, it was hard because I didn't know that if you leveled up without raising your stats properly with the GF stuff, yeah, you're pretty much screwed. So I was pretty high leveled when I fought, what's her name? The last boss, whatever, Ultimate, and I was just having a hard time killing her. But once you figure out the stats raising and whatnot, it gets easy. Final Fantasy IX was easy. Final Fantasy X was also easy. Final Fantasy XI is an online game, and number 12 was medium easy. Final Fantasy 13, I would say it's easy also, just because there isn't much strategy to the game, really. Final Fantasy 14, I played a little bit of it, and it's also an online game, and the experience has been, for MMORPGs, the early game stuff is easy, and then the medium, it starts to get harder once you start to reach your level cap. But I quit. Well, it's not that I quit. I just never got into it. I leveled up to level 15, but I just never had time for it. I don't know. And the last thing I wanted to talk about are modifications to these games, which are created by fans and people they're created by the players, and I've only played quite a few of them. And a lot of these mods are difficulty mods, meaning that these mods raise the difficulty of the game. And I've played only a few of them. I'm going to just list a few of them. So the first mod is Final Fantasy VI, Brave New World. That mod makes that game a whole lot harder. For Final Fantasy VII, again, that's, in my opinion, that's a very easy game. But there are hardcore mods out there. There's a popular hardcore mod. I can never pronounce his first. It's this creator. I can't pronounce his first name. But there's a bunch of difficulty mods for that one too. For Final Fantasy IX, I've played. I think it was called. I forgot what it was called, but I think you can get it off like the Insane Difficulty website. If you just Google Final Fantasy IX Insane Difficulty, you'll find it, and that one is quite a challenge. I think I was stuck in disc 3. I just never was able to continue that game for whatever reason. But those are a few modifications that I played. So there are mods out there that do increase the difficulty, and I would give them a shot. If you want to revisit some Final Fantasy games, go and give these mods a try. I'll link a few in the description. Alright guys, I'm going to go and end it here. I'm going to make myself a few torches, and next episode I will be able to go on a mining adventure. Hopefully it'll be nice. I don't have to deal with much trouble. But please, leave me a message or leave me a comment and tell me what you think of today's topic. And as always, thank you so much for watching, and have a good rest of your day. Hi, this is my Final Fantasy wallet that I was talking about earlier in this video. Has Zack on one side. If I switch it, has Cloud on the other side. Very, very nice wallet.